Okay, it's 8:03, and I'm calling night 3. Let's settle down, let's quiet down. I'm calling to order night 3 of the Arlington Annual Town Meeting. A reminder that, some quick announcements. Reminder that budget night is this Wednesday, May 6th. Expect to cover Articles 64 through 67. Also, I apologize for interrupting some speakers to clear the speaker queue. I've gotten feedback on that loud and clear. I'll be working with the operator to make sure that we're clearing the speaker queue in more predictable ways that aren't interrupting folks. Next, sometimes when I get requests from town meeting members for materials to be added to the annotated warrant, it's submitted in the names of multiple town meeting members. Like at the top it says like submitted by town meeting member A from precinct 1 and TMMB from precinct 2. Going forward, I want to ask that requests from town meeting members be attributed to a single town meeting member, which is the one sending the email. It'll just make it a lot easier to manage. I don't have to get like permission, make sure that like the other person actually knows all the content and all that. And it's just easier to juggle with the high volume of email that we get for such requests. Also, speaking of requests to add materials to the annotated warrant, there's been lots of submissions for attachments, especially for Article 53. Let's see, I've approved, I think, 15 so far, and there's like almost 30 total that I'm still trying to get through, because I do have to review them for scope and so on. The current guidelines allow this, so I'm not calling anyone out as doing anything that the rules say that they shouldn't be doing, but people are submitting a volume of requests that's higher than I anticipated when I came up with these guidelines and discussed them with the Town Meeting Procedures Committee over recent years. So the rate of requests that I've been getting, especially for Article 53, has not been sustainable for myself since, as I mentioned, I need to check the materials for scope and relevance. I don't want unrelated materials that are outside of the scope of the article to be taking up space in the annotated warrant and consuming your time trying to figure out, puzzle over like, why is this even here? So I do that filtering for you. And nor does the town clerk necessarily have the time like checking the materials for accessibility, because that's something that we're really trying to prioritize this year to make the materials more accessible for screen readers, et cetera. And so the volume is just higher than we anticipated when these guidelines were put in place. And so I don't intend to, like the situation isn't so dire at this moment that I need to change the guidelines in the middle of this town meeting, because I really try to avoid that. But I will definitely be discussing changes to these guidelines with the Town Meeting Procedures Committee shortly after this town meeting is dissolved, because we need to find a more sustainable, balanced way of approaching this. Okay, and with that out of the way, please rise for the national anthem. Yeah, special thanks to Rieko Tanaka on piano. Thank you. Let's see. Lastly, before we get started, I want to welcome guests of ours from our sister city, Nagaokakyo, Japan. I believe they're in the balcony. Yes, welcome. They'll be visiting Arlington for the week, and thank you and welcome to Arlington. Welcome back to Arlington for many of you. Okay, Mr. Hurd.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. John Hurd, Chair of the Select Board. It is moved that if all of the business of the meeting as set forth in the warrant for the annual town meeting is not disposed of at this session, when the meeting adjourns, it adjourns to Wednesday, May 6, 2026 at 8 p.m. at Town Hall.
We have a motion that if we don't finish tonight, we'll adjourn back to here on Wednesday at 8 p.m. All those in favor say yay. Yay. All those opposed say nay. It is affirmed. It is a majority vote. Let's now take a test vote. Okay, true or false? At the completion of the first night of town meeting last Monday, 37 articles had been disposed. That's the most ever in a single night at Arlington town meeting. 1 for true, 2 for false. Okay, let's close voting. And it passes, 109, the affirmative 79, and negative 5 abstentions. Is this really loud or echoey? That's good, okay. Okay, let's cycle through the vote screens. I don't know, it's really a question for, I think that's a question for the clerk. The clerk keeps the record, so I don't know. I just run the meeting. You think I have that kind of time during town meeting to research, like? All right. Okay, that takes us to, let's see, let me just double check here. Do we have any announcements or resolutions tonight? Yeah, over here, Ms. Dre.
Good evening, Elizabeth Dre, Precinct 10. I'd like to invite fellow Arlington Teosinte Sister City Project Board member Stephanie Kuntz to address you and give you a brief update of what we've been up to in the last year. Stephanie is an Arlington town member. Can she speak?
She's a town meeting member? Or?
No, she's just a resident. I'm
resident,
sorry.
yeah, she has the right to speak, yes. Yeah, welcome. Just let us know your name and address. Yeah.
I can introduce Caitlin too. Yes, sir. I can introduce Caitlin.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Hello, town meeting members, and thank you for all your hard work on behalf of Arlington.
I'm sorry, just name and address, please.
Okay.
Yeah,
My
just for the
name
record.
is Stephanie Kuntz, and I'm at 46 Westmoreland in Arlington.
And I am Caitlin Rahm, and I live at 63 Chester Street.
Thank you.
I've lived here in Arlington with my husband Charlie for almost 22 years. We have raised our 2 children here, the second of whom is about to graduate from Arlington High School. And I'm here to speak tonight about Arlington's special relationship with the community of Teosinte, El Salvador, and our organization, the Arlington Teosinte Sister City Project, of which I am a board member, as well as Caitlin, as well as Elizabeth. When I spoke to this group 2 years ago, we had just come back from a delegation trip, reaffirming the importance of person-to-person connections. Teosinte is a wonderful community nestled in the hills of Chalatenango and is a village rebuilt in 1988 by Salvadorians leaving a Honduran refugee camp. Arlington has been connected to them since 1988, with the rebirth of that community emerging from civil war. Our sister city relationship is a model of solidarity, friendship, and cultural exchange. Currently, Teosinte is facing challenges of an increasingly centralized and authoritarian Salvadorian government. At the same time, the village is thriving in many ways. They continue to have their own town council or directiva with local elections every 2 years. At Arlington Teosinte Sister City Project, we focus on multiple areas of common interest. First of all, we focus on education within our own schools. Learning about Teosinte is part of the second grade World Studies program at Arlington Public Schools, and we recently had a very exciting curriculum meeting about it. We also look for ways to get middle school and high school kids involved, often through our Spanish language teachers. Secondly, we sell crafts made by the Teosinte Sewing Cooperative, as well as Salvadoran coffee roasted locally at events such as Town Day. We also have a monthly coffee club for anyone living in Arlington. All proceeds go to support Teosinte and the Sister City program, mainly by contributing to high school and university scholarships. Thirdly, we promote cultural exchange and education within the town of Arlington. Events over the last few years include partnering with the Library for Arlington Reads. You may remember Solido. There was another book sharing and author discussion from Unforgetting. We've had border stories at Kickstand Cafe and other events. And lastly, we promote direct exchanges with the people of Teosinte and El Salvador by visiting there, by hosting national Sister City events, and by even FaceTiming, and actually more, it's WhatsApp video. We celebrate the relationship our two communities have had for almost 40 years.
You have about 15 seconds.
Okay. Well, I wanted to ask two things. One, to consider coming to our coffee, craft, and bake sale at the break. And also, we are completely 100% volunteer organization, spread a little thin, and we would love your partnership, your volunteering, being part of the board. And lastly, I just wanted to say we live in hard times. Some of the Teosinte diaspora have been very affected by current U.S. policies, which included recently ICE sweeping up a young woman, an asylum seeker with a work permit, who was immediately separated from her young daughter and transported to several different states in their detention centers until she was able to achieve voluntary deportation back to El Salvador. We're very struck by how wonderful this community is in Teosinte, and we love the connection with them, and we would love to support them as much as possible. Thank you.
Great, thank you, thank you. Do we have any other announcements or resolutions tonight? Okay, seeing none. Now call for reports of committees. Are there any reports to be received tonight? Ms. Deschler, would you make that possible for us?
Christine Deschler, Chair of the Finance Committee. I move that Article 3 be taken from the table.
Okay, we have a motion to take Article 3 from the table to receive reports. We have a second. All those in favor say yay. Yay. All those opposed say nay. It is unanimous. So, Mr. Jamieson, you had a report? And do we have slides up? Okay,
Yep,
you have 4 minutes.
Excellent. Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Gordon Jamieson, Precinct 12, and co-chair of Envision Arlington's Physical Resource Task Group. Our charge is to educate the public on how our town government works and the people who are responsible for the planning and management of town finances. Over the years, we've involved in the government primer, which you may have seen, the State of the Town address, warrant article order, financial organization, quarterly water and sewer billing, my tax dollars, and we still have a project ongoing where we'd like to get profiles of all our leaders up on the web. Next slide, please. Tonight I'm here to talk to you about our MBTA assessment. If you go to the finance report, the summary page C1, down in the assessments on the lower left, you'll see $3.6 million that we spend give to the MBTRA. And that number, we believe, is much higher than it should be, and this is due to the simple fact that Arlington is misclassified as a rapid transit/commuter rail service community in legislation that is part of Mass General Law. And we estimate that means that Arlington is overassessed by over $2.5 million annually. Since 2000, that's $50 million we could have done other things with. Next slide, please. So, legislative solution. Change Arlington's classification within the relevant legislation. From 14 cities and towns high service to 51 cities and towns lower service, making it 13 and 52. In addition to our belief that this is the right thing, the MBTA Communities Act also provides support for this, in that we are classified as an adjacent community and not a rapid transit or commuter rail community, and the adjacent communities are classified as a lower service MBTA recipient. We approached Senator Friedman, and she and her staff helped us draft legislation with the input and support from Town Council Cunningham and the assistance of Representatives Garbely and Rogers. I think I see Sean in the back there. Thank you. And we filed that legislation. The Senate S-2629 was filed. A hearing was held last fall where I testified. You can look that up and see my testification for 3 minutes. And then it was referred to a study committee, which is where things usually go to die. Next slide, please. We were requesting your help. Request the support from the Select Board, the Town Manager, the Town Meeting, and of course our legislative team on Beacon Hill to get this important piece of legislation passed by the legislature. Why is it important? It's $2.5 million a year, folks. It's not chump change. So if passed this year, over the next 4 years, that's $10 million. Thank you for your time.
And before you go anywhere, Mr. Jamieson, I don't remember hearing the motion to receive the report.
I move receipt.
Okay, we have a motion to receive the report from Mr. Jamieson, and we have a second. All those in favor say yay. Yay. All those opposed say nay. It is received. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator.
Any other reports of committees to be received by town meeting? Okay, seeing none. Ms. Deschler?
Christine Deschler, Chair of the Finance Committee. I move that Article 3 be laid upon the table.
Okay, we have a motion to put Article 3 back on the table and a second. All those in favor say yay. Yay. All those opposed say nay. It is not unanimous, thank you, but it is back on. It is a two-thirds vote. Thank you. Always keeping things interesting. Okay, Articles 10 and 21 are held until May 13th. We resume now with Article 30. I believe Mr. DeCoursey from the Select Board is going to introduce this article. And can we clear the speaker queue, please?
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Steve DeCoursey, member of the Select Board. Actually going to move to postpone this article until May 13th. I had a conversation with the proponent before the meeting, and he had requested it, but I also agreed to meet with him between now and then, and maybe there's some areas of agreement or better understanding, so there'll be a tighter presentation on the 13th.
Okay, we have a motion to, it was postponed, correct?
Correct.
Until May 13th. Article 30. All those in favor of postponing Article 30 until May 13th say yay. Yay. All those opposed say nay. It is unanimous. It's unanimous. I call it before I heard that. It is now tabled until, let's see. Oops. Let me just update my notes quickly. 5:13. And so Article 30 will be taken up on May 13th, also known as second first night of town meeting, or redo night. Okay, that takes us to Article 31. Mr. Hurd? And speaker queue is clear right now.
I was trying to not touch the microphone, but we're going to give it another try. Thank you, Mr. Moderator. John Hurd, Chair of the Select Board. Article 31 is a home rule legislation which seeks to authorize the filing of home rule legislation to exempt Arlington from the provisions of General Law Chapter 61B that allows owners of certain types of land defined as recreational to apply for and receive a reduced property tax valuation. The The Select Board voted favorable action by a vote of 3-1. Mr. Helmuth recused himself. Mr. DeCoursey voted in the negative. Thank you.
Thank you. Seeing no requests to, oh, Mr. Granucci? Oh, yeah, come on up. You have a presentation? Okay. Yeah, can we show Mr. Granucci's presentation, who's also the proponent, I believe, of the petition, correct?
All right. Carmine Granucci, Precinct 21. All right, so hopefully this is a no-brainer here. Next slide, please. Just want to talk about what Chapter 61B, it gives 75% reduction in the assessed value for certain types of recreational land. It was generally designed for farms and open space, but however, the two private country clubs in our town have been taking advantage of this to dramatically reduce their tax obligations. Those two clubs, Belmont Country Club and Winchester Country Club, hold 59 acres of private land in Arlington. That's almost 2% the total of the town, of the 5.5 square miles of Arlington. Doing so and removing Belmont Country Club's exemption would allow for us to have about $18,000 a year in additional revenue. And these two properties, these two country clubs, because of the way Chapter 61B is written, they're the only two properties in town that would qualify for this exemption. Next slide, please. And just to give you a little thing showing of the disparity here, Belmont Country Club pays about $545 per acre. They're 11.5 acres of land in town. They pay about $5,800 a year in tax. Winchester Country Club has not, this year, did not apply for 61B. It's something that these pieces of property have to apply for every year. We'll get to that in a minute, but right now, as a golf course themselves, they are taxed as a golf course. They pay about $4,500 per acre. And now compare that to what the average of folks who have a single-family home is about $35,000 per acre. Next slide, please. And so what I was saying, Winchester Country Club has gone off and on again with the 61B. And so right now, we are budgeting for the assessment of what their property is, sans 61B. If they do next year apply for 61B, we will potentially lose out on about $25,000 a year in tax revenue. And so combined here, there's about $50,000 or $43,000 a year in tax revenue. Next slide. So asking you to vote yes for this. Again, this is a home rule petition. We would have to petition the state to ask us to be exempt. Both Belmont and Swampscott 2 years ago in their town meeting have done similar home rule petitions. They are now in the State House waiting for law change. Like Mr. Hurd said, Select Board favorably 3-1, and then the Board of Assessors unanimously supports this article. All in all, a private country club should not be receiving a 75% tax discount, particularly while Arlington homeowners are asked to pay more through overrides. Everyone should be paying their fair share. So, thank you.
Thank you. Let's see, we can switch over to the speaker queue. I don't think we were able to make the font larger, is that right? Sorry about that. We'll continue to look at that, see if we can improve that. But so we have only 4 speakers in the queue, so if it's fewer than 5, as I said before, I'm not going to bother shuffling it. We'll just take them in order. Mr. Tosti?
I don't play golf.
Name and precinct, please.
Okay, Al Tosti, Precinct 17. I don't play golf. I haven't done that since the Commonwealth of Massachusetts petitioned me to stop.
Oh,
and
I think folks are just, can you step a few inches from the microphone? Yeah,
okay.
Thank you.
And I think, trees would be better than grass, but there is one good public thing that these golf courses do, and that is there are large amounts of land which are not packed with houses, which are green, which have some trees around it. It's just open space. And the town of Arlington desperately needs open space, whether it's from the Belmont or from the Winchester. So I guess my question is, Is there any way that not allowing this to happen could incentivize them to, close down the golf courses and put up multi-million-dollar houses? I have no idea what the financial condition of the two golf clubs are. And my second thing is I'd be interested to know why Mr. DeCoursey voted in the negative on this. Thank you.
Okay, so to answer the first question, is there anyone intended to own a golf course in Arlington? So I don't know if anyone is, I don't think we could really speculate on that. And your second question was about, Mr. DeCoursey, did you want to clarify your negative vote on this?
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Steve DeCoursey, member of the Select Board. I voted against this because I understand the issue with golf courses. The recreational land statute, there's actually a number of really good things about it. One of the definition of recreational land includes land that is open to members of a nonprofit organization. That's how the country clubs qualify. So my feeling was, as I heard the presentation, that's really the clause that the proponent is getting at here. There are other aspects of this that are very favorable. You have to have at least 5 acres of land, and it's maintained in open space. So I thought it was over-inclusive in terms of its application. And while there is only the golf courses right now, who knows what would happen in the future if there ever was 5 or more acres available for that type of use.
Thank you, Mr. DeCoursey. We'll take Sam Polk next. In case you're wondering, some town meeting members have requested to be referred to by first and last name, so it might seem inconsistent. Mr. Go ahead. I don't know. I didn't hear anything, so.
Testing?
Yep, name and precinct.
Sam Polk, Precinct 12. So I'm a proud former JV golf bench warmer. But I'm admittedly not the town's leading expert on recreational land, so I have a couple questions related to how the land use policy works. So, Mr. Moderator, I was wondering if you could walk us through how Chapter 61B affects the property tax bill compared to ordinary residential and commercial assessments?
Yeah, I'd be happy to invite Mr. Cunningham to walk through that piece of legislation.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Michael Cunningham, Town Council.
Don't bring the mic up. Leave it right there.
And the question was related to how the tax rate works, or?
Yeah. How much money would the town get back if 31 would be passed?
I probably can't answer that one. I can tell you, in general, the statute was enacted in 1979. It was designed to protect residential recreational uses, as Mr. DeCoursey described. There are certain criteria under the statute that has to meet. It has to be 5 acres minimum and maintained for open public use, or the private use in this case, in some for golf courses. The dollar difference, I would probably have to defer to our assessor or perhaps town manager.
Mr. Feeney, can you answer that?
Thank you. I actually would defer to our Director of Assessments, Dana Mann, who's in attendance. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Mann? Director Mann?
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Dana Mann, Director of Assessments. Would you repeat the question? There seem to be 2 questions there.
Yeah, so I just wanted to understand, so maybe it is 2 questions and I just don't understand the policy, but I'd love to understand what money the town would get back in the form of tax revenue as a result of this specifically.
Sure. So I can tell you that in fiscal year 25, Winchester did apply for the 61B, and the discount from full and fair cash value was approximately $2.4 million in value, which equates to approximately $24,964 in taxes that were discounted for the fiscal year.
Okay. So assuming similar for Belmont, maybe?
It's about 18,000
okay.
and change.
Sounds good. Mr. Moderator, I had a different question. So I was curious about the specific services that are provided to these properties, such as public safety, road access, drainage, that sort of thing. Are all public services provided to these properties, despite their tax rate deduction?
Mr. Feeney, do you know, which town services, if any, are provided to these properties?
I don't have an explicit list of the services, but I can tell you that there are no applicable exemptions. Any call for service that we get, we would provide.
Okay, so it sounds like we would get tax revenue from this, and this would be just applying an existing tax rate on private entities that are already receiving public services. So I'm going to support this measure, and I urge you to as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Wagner, you're next.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Carl Wagner, Precinct 15. I rise to suggest that this is not a slam dunk, not an obvious, yes, we'll just get a lot more cash for ourselves. In fact, there are at least two things to consider on this. One is that, I don't know if you're aware, but the multifamily housing we have, the apartment buildings we have, like the Brigham, where Brigham Ice Cream used to be, they cost us money in our taxes. The rest of the residents are paying to cover what they don't cover in their services. And the 75% reduction may be too little in order to make the net positive to the town of taxes. We should probably look at, should we cut it 66 or 50 or some percent after a study? But I tell you, if we cut this to, they pay everything, they don't have children that live in the grass or on the trees that go to school. It's a business, just like our other businesses that don't have children. And more than 50% of the taxes that the town and the businesses pay go to schools. They also don't really have roads except in the periphery. So by changing this to they pay taxes, we get an immediate cash hit. And then I guarantee you, both of these places, both of these uses of open space and of whatever they are called, clubs, golf clubs, they will close, and then we'll get multifamily housing on those areas. And you might say, well, that's great, but that changes the use of Arlington. It's going to make traffic and all sorts of congestion. And I guarantee you, we'll be paying more in our residential taxes if it converts to multifamily, just like for the Brigham. Thank you.
Thank you. Next we have Mr. Miller, Matthew Miller, followed by Andrew Fisher.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Matt Miller, Precinct 11. So listening to the arguments, I understand that lots of grass is good for the environment. Absolutely. Golf courses do use a lot of water, though. So if you're using a lot of water, it kind of balances it out. So I'm kind of don't have a strong stand on it, but what I would like to know is if we do make a change, is there going to be a change from the communities of Belmont and Winchester that would actually cost us more money? That's all I have is the fact that if we try to get $25,000 or whatever the amount is, and then we have to pay $50,000 more because they counteract us, is that really benefiting us?
I'm not sure I understand the question. Counteract how?
So right now, we're saying that certain other towns get a benefit, right? Yes? Other towns get a reduced tax cost. Is that true?
No. These are property. These are taxes on property that is within Arlington's borders. Correct.
Okay. So understood. Yes. Okay. So we're losing taxes right now. If we're losing taxes, if they do similar agendas, then we might pay more taxes.
Well, I'm not even sure we could definitively say that we're missing taxes because we don't know necessarily the counterfactual. If the taxes were different, would it be a different owner? Would it be a different business, different type of development? That's all speculative, and I'm certainly not going to answer that. Mr. Cunningham, did you want to?
Speculative. Okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if, let's say we had some, all right. Apparently I misinterpreted. All right. No more questions. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Yeah. We'll take Andrew Fisher next, followed by Mr. Jameson.
Andrew Fisher, Precinct 6. I'm sympathetic to the notion that their taxes should be commensurate with the load that they put on the town. As Mr. Wagner mentioned, we don't maintain streets for them. They don't cost us the same as people with children and so on and so forth. I'd be sympathetic to charging them commensurate with their ability to pay, which would solve the threat that they're going to sell out and build housing. So those are some of my thoughts. One prejudicial question is, I love to throw Frisbee. What would happen to me if they caught me throwing the Frisbee on their land when the golf balls aren't flying? Does anybody know?
I think you throw a Frisbee at your own risk. I don't know what, I'm not sure that's within scope.
Pardon me?
I'm not sure you want to throw a Frisbee around on the golf course?
Is the public allowed to use this open space?
No, it's private ownership, correct?
Well, it's kind of hard to justify letting them off the hook. And very quickly, fun aside is Charlie Lyons always argued against two-tiered charge for water, like the water doesn't go through the sewer because these country clubs pay us a ton of money. At least Winchester pays us a ton of money for water. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Jameson? Followed by Mr. Greenspan.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Gordon Jameson, Precinct 12, and current chair of the Board of Assessors. In response to the previous comment on open space, speaking from a town meeting member perspective, it is private land, and it doesn't really provide open space activities to Arlington residents at will, like Robbins Farm Park behind my house would. One of the other comments suggested that we treat to my estimation, again as a town meeting member, that we treat the golf clubs as their own gated communities, in that they will not have to bear the cost of any schools or other services of the town. And just to reiterate what the director, as a member of the Board of Assessors now, what the director spoke, in 2025, the fiscal year, both Belmont and Winchester applied for 61B, and they both received a 75% discount on their assessed value and the taxes that accrued at the normal rate upon that discount. The proponent mentioned to me across the aisle that he thinks he believes that the initiation fee for the Winchester Country Club is $80,000. I don't think these entities are anywhere close to shutting down. Thank you very much, Mr. Moderator. The last comment was a town meeting member.
Thank you. Mr. Greenspan? Followed by Metten Killick.
Andy Greenspan, Precinct 5. Andy Greenspan, Precinct 5. Mr. Moderator, do we know the environmental effects nominally of golf courses, grass, the fertilizer that's used, things of that nature?
The environmental impact? Like, can you explain the relevance of answering that question under the
relative to the burden it places on the town and the taxes we charge them or do not charge them?
I'm not sure if anyone here can quantify that. I'm not seeing anyone volunteering to hazard an answer to that.
Okay, I point this out because a previous person suggested that the open space of the golf course wasn't that good for the town. I'm suggesting the environmental effects of a golf course are arguably worse than almost any other thing that could be there. I mean, if we could just put trees, that'd be great, but we don't control it, it's private land. So I would argue that's a huge environmental burden on the town relative to the property tax they're currently paying. My other question is, what are these areas currently zoned, the Winchester and Belmont Country Clubs?
Does anyone from the redevelopment board know how? Yeah, Mr. Revlak. how Winchester Country Club is zoned?
I can ask another question while
Okay.
somebody checks.
Yeah, go ahead.
Let me just check with my other question. It's related to this, but hypothetically speaking, if either of these country clubs wanted to develop within whatever they're currently zoned, would the town be obligated to build roads for them?
Mr. Rebach, are you still looking into that, or? Mr. Feeney, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Jim Feeney, Town Manager. To answer your first question, I do happen to have their property record cards. It looks like the two parcels owned by the Belmont Country Club are zoned R1, and those owned by the Winchester Country Club appear to be R0. Now, with that being said, if they were to seek to do some sort of subdivision, they would have to build their own roads, and if they were built to town specifications, they could be accepted by the select board at that time. And then we would maintain them moving forward.
Is the select board obligated to accept them, even if they're built to those conditions? So that would be them paying for it?
Mr.
Sorry, the moderator.
Yeah.
Mr. Feeney?
As far as I understand, they would be under no obligation to necessarily accept them.
Okay, this is just to point out, some people argued you could build tons of multifamily housing on these properties if these country clubs wanted to. You know, it doesn't seem like they want to do this, but even if that were a hypothetical, it's R1 and R0, and they would have to pay for all the things to actually develop it. It wouldn't cost the town money. I support the motion as is for the property tax, for the tax revenue. Thanks.
Thank you. Mr. Ruderman, followed by Pi Fisher.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Michael Ruderman, Precinct 9.
Is that mic on? No.
Michael Ruderman, Precinct 9. Chapter 61, 61A, 61B were responses to Massachusetts legislation that required all properties to be assessed at full market value. What would happen to farms, forests, woodlots, things like that that would now be under this intense pressure to be developed since they were going to be taxed at their highest and best use rate? Well, Chapter 60.
Can you step back a few inches from the microphone, please?
Thank you. Chapter 61 allows certain owners of private land to claim a break to get out from under some of this development pressure. I think 61 is agricultural and horticultural land. 61A is forest land. And 61B applies to private party owners of recreational land. It's our choice if we want to, through the special legislation, decide that we do not want to grant this break. The break was designed to take away the development pressure that otherwise would force typically farms, woodlot managers to accede to accepting the best market offer for higher development. It's a break. It has other protections that inure to the town. The unpaid taxes have to get reclaimed. The town has certain rights of first refusal. But basically, it's a tax break for certain properties that the law says maybe we want to keep the way they are. But if we don't want to afford that protection, we don't have to. And I'm in favor of Mr. Granucci's motion here to ask for the legislation to give us the choice of not giving that protection to 61B. Personally, I don't think the benefit the public receives is equal to the benefit that the private party receives. Thank you.
Thank you. Pi Fisher next, followed by Mr. Hamlin. Say satellite room? Yeah.
Pi Fisher, Precinct 6.
Is your mic on?
Can you hear me? Can you hear me now? The green light is on. Hey,
there we go. We can hear you now. Go ahead. Sorry
Pi
about that.
Fisher, Precinct 6. I move the question.
Okay, we have a motion to terminate debate, and we have a second. All those in favor of terminating debate under Article 31 say yay. Yay. All those opposed say nay. Debate is terminated. It is 2/3 vote. So we'll proceed now to vote on the main motion under Article 31, which is a majority vote to authorize filing of home rule legislation to exempt Arlington from Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 61B, requirements regarding reduced property tax valuations for recreational land. If you're in favor of authorizing the filing of that home rule legislation, press 1 for yes. If you're opposed, press 2 for no, or 3 to abstain. Is a vote on the main motion, and it is a majority vote. Quantum. Okay, voting is closed. And the motion passes 198 in the affirmative, 18 in the negative, 2 abstentions. Takes us to Article, can we clear the speaker queue now, please? And that brings us to, okay, the speaker queue is now clear. Article 32. Mr. Hurd?
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Article 32 was submitted by Ms. Kiesel and 10 registered voters. It seeks for a home rule petition requesting permission for the town of Arlington to ban the use of first-generation anticoagulant rodenticides in Arlington. The Select Board voted favorable action by a vote of 4-0. Mr. Helmuth recused himself. Thank you.
Thank you. And I believe we have a town meeting member to introduce the proponent of the petition. Ms. Chiarito? Chiarito, I'm sorry.
Suzanne Chiarito, Precinct 20. I'd like to introduce Laura Kiesel, a resident of Arlington and founder of Save Arlington Wildlife. Thank you.
Okay, and Ms. Kiesel is a resident of Arlington, correct? Yeah, and so, let's see, do we have Ms. Kiesel?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, in the satellite room. So I guess we just have the one display, so you won't be able to see the speaker. And so I paused the speaker queue here.
Okay, good.
So we can see Ms. Kiesel, but she has slides, so we'll switch over to the slides. Welcome. Go ahead, you have the floor.
Thank you. My name is Laura Kiesel, and I'll be presenting on Article 32, which is a resolution to file a home rule petition in the state legislature to ban first-generation anticoagulant rodenticides on all properties within Arlington borders. That is because due to state pesticide preemption law, we can't ban any pesticide on private property unless we get special state permission via a home rule petition. Arlington already has filed a home rule petition on the second-generation anticoagulants. In fact, we were the first community in the Commonwealth to do so back in 2022, becoming a trailblazer. Since then, over a dozen municipalities have followed suit, and a dozen more are primed to pass this town meeting season. Next slide, please.
I'm sorry, can you step like a few inches from the microphone? It's like really loud down here. Thank you.
Next slide, please. So what are first-generation anticoagulants? They include warfarin, difascinone, chlorofascinone. They interfere with vitamin K production in the body, which helps the blood to clot. So any human or animal that has these in too high doses in their body cannot clot their blood, and they will die via internal bleeding without medical intervention. Rodents like rats and mice have developed a very robust resistance to these poisons, so they don't really work in controlling rodents. However, the predators have not developed a resistance to these compounds, and so we are seeing a lot of harm on these non-target animals. Next slide, please. So FGARs are having a profound impact on our wildlife. Lab studies have shown that eastern screech owls and American kestrels, which are two species that reside and nest here in Arlington, are 30 times more sensitive to the FGAR difascinone than other birds, and that includes lethal sensitivity. American kestrels are on a severe decline here in the United States. The FGAR chlorofascinone interferes with the thermoregulation of hawks, meaning they can't stay warm in frigid weather or cool in hot weather if they have this in their system. In 2024, in a 72-hour period, we found 4 dead owls and hawks in Arlington during a cold snap, and all had chlorofascinone in their system in highly discernible levels. The FGAR difascinone exposure has been linked to serious and fatal cases of mange in fur-bearing mammals like bobcats, and over in California has been responsible for plummeting populations of bobcats in certain regions to the point of near extirpation. Next slide, please. The case of FGARs have escalated here in Arlington. Last summer, there was a gray fox reported to Save Arlington Wildlife, dead in a backyard. That's the photo. It was brought in for a necropsy my organization funded. It had widespread internal bleeding in its abdominal region, and the surprise was that the primary poisoning agent was not an eschar as originally suspected, but the F-gar-chlorofascinone at almost 700 parts per billion. Just for context, lethal threshold starts at 100 parts per billion, so it was nearly 7 times that rate. Gray foxes are a species of special conservation need in the state. They are in a serious decline in the northeastern and midwestern United States, and rodenticides have been highlighted as one of the contributors to these declines. This is the only denning population of foxes we have in Arlington, is this one family that only was reported last spring, so it's very sad to see that one has already succumbed to an anticoagulant. Next slide, please. F-gars are also very dangerous to pets and children. Vets are reporting higher rates of vet visits and even casualties among cats and dogs with F-gar exposure, whereas child exposure rates have actually increased in the past decade, 60 to 80% in children, disproportionately impacting low-income children of color. Next slide, please. I often get asked, well, what about controlling rodents? The truth is, there's not a single study that finds that anticoagulants reduce rodents in contiguous ecosystems like urban and suburban landscapes. And in fact, what data does exist shows that in the Boston metro area, rat and mice numbers are climbing with the rise in the use of anticoagulants. Instead, sanitation and exclusion are known to be the most superior forms of reducing rodents in an area, so dumpster management, cleaning up brush, etc., as well as supplemental controls like rat contraception, deterrence, supplemental trapping, and dry ice. Next slide, please. Next slide. So a single gray fox, like the one that died in Arlington, consumes between 1,500 to 3,000 rodents per year. When one of these predators winds up dying from these rodenticides, those rodents will go on to procreate, make more rodents. We are inciting a trophic cascade of our wildlife by diminishing our predators and artificially boosting our rodent numbers. Next slide, please. There is a lot of precedent for having first-generation anticoagulants. This home rule petition, California's moratorium, is applicable to all anticoagulants, both first and second. The state legislation pending at the State House seeks to ban both generations of anticoagulants, as does the current legal petition that is pending before the Pesticide Board here in Massachusetts. Several municipalities in Massachusetts have already passed home rule petitions that actually seek to ban both generations of anticoagulants, and several more are again positioned to pass this town meeting season. Next slide, please. So this warrant has widespread support. Arlington Conservation Commission, Sustainable Arlington, Friends of Spy Pond Park, Mystic River Watershed Association, MSPCA, and the Select Board have all voted to endorse this article, and I hope we will also have your support tonight at town meeting. Thank you very much for taking my comments, and I'm glad to answer any questions.
Thank you, Ms. Kiesel. Thank you. Okay, so let's switch over to the speaker queue. And we have 4 speakers, so I'll just take them in order. Adam Lane, followed by Sam Polk. Followed by Mr. Jameson. Go ahead.
Adam Lane, Precinct 3. I'm very much philosophically in support of this article. Just a question, though, for the proponents, which is, how would the ban be enforced? What penalties do we have in mind? Obviously, anticoagulants could be brought in from neighboring municipalities. Just how are we going to, if pardon the expression, police this?
Yeah. Ms. Chiarito, do you wish to answer that? Or let's see, does it specify? I don't think it specifies in the vote language what the specific legislation would be. Does it? Oh, it does. Okay. Ms. Chiarito, did you want to address this? Or Ms. Kiesel? Yep, you're up there. Yep.
So, well, one, the home rule petition is also a pressuring mechanism to help urge the state to really pass a statewide legislation that would allow all municipalities to do this. But for those who may not know, right now, the environmental bond bill actually has a resolution in it that was passed by Senate vote that would allow any towns and cities with a home rule petition on either or both generations of anticoagulants to be automatically opted in to ban these outright in their communities. But it also would direct the pesticide board to come up with sort of a blanket way on how municipalities can do that. So it would offer guidance. So I don't know about if we're going to be passing these piecemeal. I see that it's more likely the state's either going to do statewide legislation, in which case we are kind of offering that pressuring mechanism, or it's going to pass in that act where it allows all of the municipalities that have opted in with these home rule petitions, but it will offer guidance on how to do that.
Thank you. And yeah, it's specified in the vote language that the part of the legislation that would be filed would specify the town of Arlington may regulate through local bylaw or Board of Health regulation or ordinance the use of first gen, but it doesn't specify what exactly. So that'd be a future action by the town in one form or another.
All right, thank you both for clarifying, and I value Arlington wildlife. I saw a bald eagle flying over Mass Ave last week. I'm in support of this measure. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Jamison? Followed by Mr. Ciano, but it doesn't say request to speak, so it might have been a mispressed button. Mr. Jamison, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Gordon Jamison, Precinct 12. I believe I'm correct that we've already passed something analogous for second generation. Is that correct?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
Yes, it is a question. Second generation, have we already passed home rule legislation to ban those?
Oh, has second generation anticoagulant rodents. Mr. Cunningham? What is the status of second generation anticoagulant rodenticides?
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Michael Cunningham, Town Council. Yes, this town meeting did pass that, but it's in the state legislature. It has not been passed by the state legislature.
Thank you very much, Mr. Cunningham and Mr. Moderator. I found several things in the proponent's proposal quite interesting. The concept of a moratorium in this state, as California has, might be an interim thing for our legislative team on Beacon Hill to consider. The second thing is, are any of the animals that are falling prey to, quote unquote, to these chemicals endangered? And then we might be able to enact legislation or control through the Federal Endangered Species Act or anything in the state that has level. And lastly,
Yep, go ahead.
And lastly, the comment about children, especially of lower economic stature. When I was in Cincinnati, a faculty member on the College of Medicine at the University of Cincinnati, my department, not my expertise, but my department was basically founded in many ways on discovering the toxic effects of lead. And much of lead exposure to lower economic children is hand to mouth. A constant child, they put their hand on something that in an urban environment is dust that has, at that time, leaded gasoline. They would put it to their mouth and they would ingest lead that way. And I would make the analogy that this is exactly what's happening with some of our children at this time, and that might be another mechanism for forcing action. Thank you very much, Mr. Moderator. And I'm a strong proponent of this. Thank you.
Did you want to answers to your question about endangered species affected, or was it?
That was sort of a rhetorical question for our legislative team. Thank you.
Got it. Thank you. Mr. Ciano, did you have a request to speak? I don't think so. Okay. Mr. Hamlin, followed by Pi Fisher.
Guillermo Hamlin, Precinct 14. I move the question and all matters before it. Thank you.
Okay, we have a motion to terminate debate, and we have a second. All those in favor of terminating debate under Article 32, say yay. Yay. All those opposed, say nay. Debate is terminated. It is a 2/3 vote. So we'll proceed now to a vote on the main motion. It is a majority vote to authorize filing of home rule legislation to allow Arlington to prohibit the use of first-generation anticoagulant rodenticides. Okay, voting is now open. If you're in favor of the town filing for home rule legislation in this regard, press 1 for yes. If you're opposed to filing home rule legislation, press 2 for no, or 3 to abstain. Okay, voting is closed. And the motion passes 211 in the affirmative, 3 in the negative, 1 abstention. It is a majority vote. Takes us to Article 35. Mr. Hurd? Can we clear the speaker queue, please? Okay, queue is cleared. Mr. Hurd, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. John Hurd, Chair of the Select Board. Article 35 seeks endorsement of the Program Year 52 CDBG applications. If it's appropriate this time, Mr. Moderator, I'd like to make a small motion to correct a clerical error in the language.
Yes.
So I move, in John Hurd, Chair of the Select Board and Town Meeting Member for Precinct 18, I should say. I move to amend the main motion by replacing the words federal fiscal year 2026 with program year 52. It's correcting the year that is listed, and it's also moving forward, we'll refer to the program year, which is a more accurate way to refer to the program. So before I bring up Ms. Ricker, the Select Board voted favorable action 6-0, which a CDBG vote includes the town manager for favorable action on this article.
Okay, and I think, Madam Clerk, you need a signature, I believe? Yeah. Do we happen to have this in a digital form that we could present? Ms. Brazel, do we have it in digital form? Do we have it in digital form or the? Yeah, okay, so let's bring up the text and we can talk through this. And do we have a second? I didn't hear. Okay, thank you. Okay, so.
And with that, I would like to invite our Director of Planning and Community Development, Claire Ricker, to further elaborate.
Yep, so where it says federal fiscal year 2026, which is split across the first 2 lines of the vote language, it would replace that with program year 52, which is the upcoming federal fiscal year. Is that correct? No, it's not. Oh, it's how long? Okay. Okay. So that motion has been seconded and is now before us. Thank you. Director Ricker.
All right. Thank you very much. My name is Claire Ricker. I am your Director of Planning and Community Development here for the town. You have the CDBG report to town meeting in front of you, which should have details on awards that were granted this year. I'm going to give you a little background. The Community Development Block Grant, or CDBG program, is a federal program administered by the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, or HUD. It was established in 1974 under Title I of the Housing and Community Development Act. The core purpose of the program is to support the development of viable, healthy communities, and this is achieved by investing in, and this is HUD's language, decent housing, a suitable living environment, and expanded economic opportunities, with a particular focus on benefiting individuals and households with low and moderate incomes. Arlington has participated in the CDBG program since 1975 and has received just over $60.5 million in total funding over that time. As an entitlement community, Arlington's annual funding is determined by a federal formula that considers population, poverty levels, housing conditions including age and overcrowding, and population growth trends. Although demand for the program has increased nationwide, HUD's overall budget has remained relatively flat, meaning more communities are competing for the same pool of funding. As a result, Arlington's allocation has remained relatively steady, but slightly declining in recent years. Each year, Arlington is required to submit an annual action plan to HUD. This plan outlines how the town intends to use its annual CDBG allocation. This plan is based on the town's 5-year consolidated plan A consolidated plan includes broad goals and objectives to address priority needs with resources available from HUD, including a 5-year strategy for use of CDBG funding in the town of Arlington for years 2025 to 2030. It's also based on prior year's funding levels and program performance and community priorities and eligible applications. The final budget is dependent on Arlington's actual HUD allocation. This year, if final award differs from the estimate, all project budgets are adjusted proportionally. No activity may exceed its requested funding amount. All adjustments must comply with federal spending limits for public services, planning, and administration. Also, if additional funds are received beyond projected needs, the town would prioritize ADA accessibility improvements for the Veterans Memorial Park redesign project. The town anticipates receiving $1,050,000 in new HUD CDBG funds this year, with approximately $204,000 in reprogrammed prior year funds and approximately $5,000 in program income, primarily loan interest from the Arlington Home Rehab Program. So the total anticipated funding available this year is $1,254,000. For priorities and proposed uses in affordable housing, we propose continued support for the Housing Corporation of Arlington's Capital Improvement Program, which focuses on preserving existing affordable housing and improving energy efficiency and sustainability there. For public services, which is subject to a 15% cap of the total funding, we propose to continue support for a range of community-based services, including arts programming and scholarships through Arlington Center for the Arts, food access programs for seniors through Arlington Eats, educational support programs at the Arlington Housing Authority's Learning Center, youth mental health services through AYCC, after-school and enrichment programs for youth through the Boys and Girls Club and Fidelity House, transportation and volunteer coordination through the Council on Aging, employment and job readiness programs for youth, English language instruction for non-native speakers, recreation department scholarship support. For infrastructure and public facilities, this year, the demand for infrastructure funding significantly exceeded available resources with requests totaling over $1.5 million. The town prioritized funding to allow projects to move forward or advance critical phases in program year 52. For ongoing projects, we have ADA accessibility improvements at Arlington Housing Authority's Chestnut Manor, which is phase 2 of that project. Annual ADA sidewalk curb ramp improvements done by DPW. And the Robbins Library ADA restroom upgrades continued as a multi-phase effort. For new projects, we have the community garden at 21 Pond Lane, the tree planting component, Jason Russell House Museum ADA accessible entrance, a Minuteman Bikeway stairway replacement with ADA accessible ramp is in the planning phase, and the Parmenter Building ADA restroom design phase for that project. For planning and administration, which is subject to a 20% cap of overall funding, those funds will support planning staff time dedicated to CDBG-related work, including community engagement and outreach, data collection and analysis, housing and land use planning, affordable housing studies and implementation, and economic development planning. These dollars also fund long-range planning studies supporting housing affordability and economic opportunity, and general program administration and compliance management. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's switch over to the speaker queue. We have 3 speakers in the queue. It doesn't show an intent of request to speak, but I'll give you a chance anyway. Ms. Chalapatas? Maybe that was a key press in error. Next, we have Mr. Lewitton. Marvin Lewitton? Pass, okay. Okay, we have no other speakers. Oh, Mr. Jameson?
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Gordon Jameson, Precinct 12. I want to commend the Select Board and the people, this planning department who helped put this together on including the cost of fringe benefits of the salaried employees that are listed here. And I hope that in future, and that would include hopefully the pensions and healthcare in particular. And I hope in future FinCom reports, those offsets will be reflected in the pension and insurance budgets. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Tremblay? Followed by Ms. Latowski.
Ed Tremblay, Precinct 19, rather. I was just curious, the Minuteman Bikeway stair replacement, where are those stairs?
Sorry, can you repeat that?
I'm just curious, the Minuteman Bikeway stair replacement, I'm just curious where the stairs are. I mean, there's lots of
Director Ricker?
places I can think that they could be. I'm just curious which set of stairs they're planning to replace. And also, how did they come up with 3,211 individuals?
Well, let's take one question at a time, like the stairs to the Minuteman Bikeway, is that what it was?
Sure, yeah. The stairs for the Minuteman Bikeway aim to increase safety and accessibility and restore connectivity between the Minuteman Bikeway and the linear park along Millbrook. It is an old set of stairs located off the Minuteman Bikeway near the Mill Street intersection.
Okay. And how did you come up with the figure of benefiting 3,211 individuals?
I didn't come up with that, but Director Ricker, do you?
You know what, I would have to check on that number for you and get back to you. I'm not sure either.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Lutowski, followed by Mr. Sullivan.
This is the working one, right?
I don't think so. I think these two, the middle and the left.
Jennifer Lutowski, Precinct 3. Mr. Moderator, I'd like to know, for each of the items, they list a proposed cost and a recommended price, and then list the number of people that will serve. When it is something that's based on like individuals, like reducing fees for something, is that based on the requested amount or the smaller recommended amount?
I don't know. Director Ricker, do you have an answer to that question? There's not. Does anyone have an answer to that question? We don't seem. Repeat the question? You can repeat the question? Like the.
Yes. So are the number of individuals served by these projects based on calculating from the requested amount or from the recommended amount, which is typically quite a bit lower?
Mr. Feeney?
They're all good causes. I'd just like to know how many people we're able to serve.
Sure, Jim Feeney, Town Manager. So for those projects listed under public facilities and infrastructure, no matter the funding amount, I don't think it would change the number of individuals served. That may be the case, though, for some of the public services where the scholarships are, potentially those amounts are amended, but I do believe they are reflected to show the actual dollar of value proposed because the application tells us what the cost is per participant in the program.
Thank you. And then second question, for the community garden, is that intended to be like individual garden plots that people would be like subscribing to or signing up for, or more of a park-like space that everybody could use?
Director Ricker?
Sure, again, Claire Ricker, Director of Planning and Community Development. Are you talking about the project at 21 Pond Lane?
Yes.
The project at 21 Pond Lane is proposed to be a community open space. I don't believe that there are individual garden plots planned there, but I'm certain that that's something that could be considered in the future.
Not recommending one way or the other, just very curious to see what we're planning. Thank you very much. Sure.
Thank you. Mr. Sullivan, followed by Mr. Greenspan. Pass. Mr. Greenspan? Pass. Mr. Tosti? Pass. We've reached the end of the speaker queue. We will proceed to a vote on the amendment to the main motion. The Hurd amendment, which I will repeat again. I don't think we have it in digital form, but it would amend the main motion. So actually, can we bring up the main motion? Yes. So the end of the first line and the beginning of the second line of the vote language, where it says federal fiscal year 2026, the amendment would replace that with program year 52. Okay, so let's bring up a vote on that amendment to the main motion. The light is on, and there's the display. Okay, so voting is now open on the Hurd amendment to replace federal year 2026 with program year 52 in the vote language. If you're in favor of that change, press 1 for yes. If you're opposed, press 2 for no. Okay, voting is closed on the amendment. And the motion passes. It is unanimous. 208 in the affirmative, no opposition. And so now we have the main motion as amended. Let's open voting on the main motion as amended by the Hurd amendment. If you're pressing your buttons on your handset, you're entering the speaker queue. We're just waiting for voting to open on the main motion of Article 35. Voting is now open. So if you're in favor of the recommended, or the amended main motion to endorse the Community Development Block Grant application under the Housing and Community Development Act as amended by the Hurd Amendment, press 1 for yes. If you're opposed to the endorsement of the CDBG application, press 2 for no, or 3 to abstain. Okay, let's close voting. And it is unanimous. 210 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative, 3 abstentions. That takes us now to Article 36. Mr. Hurd? And can we clear the speaker queue, please?
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. John Hurd, Chair of the Select Board. Article 36 is a vote to reauthorize and set the expenditure cap for existing revolving funds. The Select Board voted favorable action by a vote of 5-0, and I will invite our Town Manager to detail a couple of items in the Select Board report.
Mr. Feeney?
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Thank you, Mr. Hurd. Jim Feeney, Town Manager. I just wanted to note 2 of the revolving funds that we are proposing an increased expenditure limit for. One being private way repairs, and that is due to an article that this body will consider later in the meeting, Article 79, which seeks to authorize the borrowing of a significant sum of money for the repair of private ways in Kelwyn Manor. As such, we thought it was prudent to reset the expenditure cap this year, as that project is slated to cost just over $1.5 million. So that's why there's a significant increase there. And then we are also proposing to increase the expenditure cap on field user fees, knowing that we were going out to bid for our next 3-year contract for aeration, seeding, fertilization, testing of soil. So we were expecting an increase in that contract value, which had been set for 3 years and will now be getting reset for the next 3 years. So we wanted to be prepared for any contractual increase there that we see this spring. Thank you.
Thank you. And this Article 36, was initially on the consent agenda. It was held by Ms. Benedict. Ms. Benedict, did you want to address this before? And there's no other speakers in the queue anyway.
Beth Benedict, Precinct 21. I feel like in light of the recent override, it's important to have clarity on how the town is spending its money. And I have some questions pertaining to this revolving fund article, not because I have problems with how it's being spent, but I'd like some more clarification on some of the categories here and why what's happening with the excess money that's not being spent. For example, if you look at the Robbins House rentals, was $75,000 was allocated, but only $6,000 and something was spent. If you look at the Board of Health fees, $150,000 was allocated, but only $43,000 and $300,000, but was spent. Field user fees, as you were just explained, $100,000 was allocated, only $30,000 and $236 was spent. And then white goods recycling fees, $80,000, only $38,000 was spent. So my question is, what can the extra funds be used for? And is there a plan to spend the excess in appropriate ways instead of returning the money to the revolving funds? So that's my question. I have a couple other questions too about some of these other categories. I'm not sure who could answer those questions, but I would like some answers.
Mr. Feeney, so the question, like there's if you can explain the differential between what was allocated and what was spent, and if there's other things that could be done with the differential other than putting it back in revolving funds.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Thank you, Ms. Benedict. I just want to clarify that the expenditure cap that's being authorized by this meeting is not an allocation or an appropriation. Revolving funds only work off a money in, money out principle, so they have to generate their own revenue for expenditure. So there is no general fund dollars or dollars from property taxes supporting revolving funds. They're simply due from fees for programs. So as we talked about with articles, I think it was 24, 25, and 26, there is a table contained in the town's bylaw that lists all of the warrant articles, all of the revolving funds, when they were authorized, and the fees and receipts that can be credited to that account, but then also the program or activity expenses that are payable from that fund. So those would be the only permissible uses for the fund, for the dollars remaining in those funds, unless and until we sought to terminate any of those revolving funds, at which point the balance that would remain would close to the town's general fund, and the revolving fund would cease to exist in the future.
Okay. So I had some questions about some of these other categories. May I proceed?
Please.
So if you look at the Conservation Commission, there has been no money allocated this year, and I'm curious to know, is this no longer being funded, or are the funds going somewhere else?
Mr. Feeney? The Conservation Commission, there's a number of zeros in that table. Ms. Wayman?
Deputy Town Manager Julie Wayman. So we are actually there, that particular revolving fund does not currently have any activity in it. There's actually another fund that the Conservation Commission does collect their fees and into that. So we are not currently actively using that revolving fund.
So there was $10,000 allocated to that fund.
It says expenditures not to exceed
Oh,
$10,000, and expenditures are zero, which do not exceed $10,000, right?
Okay, the last thing I have, and then I'll depart. The white good recycling fees, I'm curious about what that is. There was $80,000 allocated to it. Nope.
Recycling fees?
So I'm just wondering more, I'd like some clarity about that. So there was, it says not to exceed $80,000. Expenditures were $38,000. So are they, what's happening with that?
You're looking at the, I'm sorry, the white good recycling fees? Yeah, Mr. Feeney?
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Jim Feeney, Town Manager. So what's going into that account is largely fees that folks are paying to dispose of things at the town's recycling center, and then the expenditures are our fees to essentially dispose of those goods. So perhaps you brought a cathode ray tube television and you pay the fee to dispose of it at the recycling center. We then pay a vendor to take it to its final destination.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Let's see, next we have Mr. Foskett. Followed by Mr. Jameson. You haven't spoken on this article yet, have you? All right. Mr. Foskett, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Charles Foskett, Precinct 10. In the town's comprehensive annual financial report for 2000, I believe it's the one that's on the website, I think it's 2025, which...
Yeah, we request to raise the mic. So
I'm sorry, pardon me?
Oh, so someone was asking to raise the mic because it was hard to hear through the...
So the comprehensive annual financial report notes that there are, in the revolving funds, $2.6 million in the town revolving funds and $4.285 million in the school revolving funds. I'm trying to reconcile those numbers with the expenditures that are shown in the notes to this this article, and I also wonder if this includes all of the funds that are sequestered for special purposes. The one that comes to my mind is the town center, the Arlington Center Parking District, which the last time I looked had about $500,000 or more in the fund that wasn't spent. And I'm wondering if somebody could reconcile these numbers to the revolving fund information presented to us with respect to this article. Thank you.
And what was the first one? I caught the others. The first one you asked about? The first fund?
The first fund, well, there are two revolving funds in the CAFR. One is the town summary. It's a summary number. One is the town revolving fund for 2.6 million and change, and the school revolving is 4.285 million and change. And then I'm trying to understand whether this includes all of the funds that are sequestered for special purposes.
Yeah, I'm trying to find these entries in the revolving fund expenditure detail that's attached to the annotated warrant. I'm not seeing those names. Mr. Feeney, do you follow the funds that Mr. Foskett's asking about, and also like the funds sequestered for special purposes and the Arlington Center Parking District?
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Thank you, Mr. Foskett. I don't have an exact answer for you as to what in what we call the ACFR, or the comprehensive financial statements, exactly what the auditor included in that line that yields a 2.6 million balance. I just pulled up the report and I don't see it in the summary, but I will note that it must necessarily include other funds because, as you noted, the balance sheet as presented in the report to town meeting, if you were to simply add up all those balances, it's nowhere near 2.6 million. So there must be other funds being classified in that line as revolving funds as well. And I can do some due diligence to figure out exactly what was included by the auditor there.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator.
Thank you, Mr. Foskett. Mr. Jameson? No, I was actually sincerely asking, because if it is the second appearance, then it's a different time. It's a 5-minute limit. This is the first time on this article? Okay, yeah. I wasn't making a joke, I promise.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Gordon Jameson, Precinct 12. Yes, I've been up a few times tonight. For your information, if you go to the next to last page of the Select Board report, you'll find a more detailed explanation of where the monies that were spent went. And I thank the powers that be for including that over the last several years at my request. Number 2 on my list, on the Board of Health, there's a sizable amount of money there. I hope that the budgeting people looking forward can find ways to use that to offset salaries and benefits in the Board of Health and related Board of Health activities. In the Robbins Library rental and the Town Hall rental, the extra money looks like a great thing we could use to maintain it for capital costs that we do, like when we refinish the floor here in Sundries. And my last comment is, I was quite intrigued by Mr. Foskett's comment, and I hope that in the future we would get a delineation of the funds reflected in the summary of financial status that's sent to residents in the town every year. Thank you very much, Mr. Moderator.
Thank you, Mr. Jameson. Sam Polk next. Followed by Mr. Greenspan.
Sam Polk, Precinct 12. Oh, I move the question, or sorry, what's the wording?
You're good.
Okay.
Yeah, you're good. Don't say anything else. We have a motion to terminate debate. And it's like all matters on the article, but there's only one, so it's unambiguous. And we have a second. Did I hear a second? Yeah. All those in favor of terminating debate under Article 36, say yes. Yes. Or yay, that's fine. All those opposed say no. Okay, it is a 2/3 vote. Debate is terminated. So we'll now proceed to a vote on the main motion of Article 36. and this is a majority vote to reauthorize multiple existing municipal revolving funds for fiscal year 2027 and set their expenditure limits. Voting is now open. If you're in favor of reauthorizing this, press 1 for yes. If you're opposed to reauthorization of the revolving funds, press 2 for no or 3 to abstain. And we will go to a break after this this vote. Okay, voting is closed. And the motion passes. 211 in the affirmative, 2 in the negative, 2 abstentions. That disposes of Article 36. We'll now take a 10-minute break, and we'll come right back in 10 minutes. Thank you. We're picking up at Article 38. And let's clear the speaker queue, please. Okay, speaker queue is clear for Article 38. And, okay, let's quiet down. Let's see, and Mr. Hurd, are you introducing this article? Are you introducing 38? But I thought it was not the select board who. No, the ARB did already. Oh, you did? Oh, okay. My apologies. Who will? That's Ellie. Okay. Okay. So you want to? Okay. Go ahead. Okay. So my apologies. Mr. Revelak will be introducing Article 38. And we have a slide presentation for Article 38. Okay, let's settle down, everyone. Mr. Revelak, you have the floor. Let's say quiet, please.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Moderator. Waiting for slides. For Article 38. All right, well, there we are. Okay. I am Steve Revelak, Vice Chair of the Arlington Redevelopment Board, and I will be taking you through Article 38, extending the charge of the Affordable Housing Overlay Committee. So last year, a citizen group filed an article to create an affordable housing overlay district. This article did not make it to town meeting. However, town meeting did vote to create the Affordable Housing Overlay District Committee. The committee's charge included conducting outreach to the community, sharing draft proposals, soliciting community feedback, and submitting zoning and map amendments to the 2026 town meeting in order to establish an affordable housing overlay district. Now, it takes some time to get committees formed, and the Affordable Housing Overlay District Committee began meeting in last September 2025. They've been holding regular public meetings, they've organized one community forum, and they've made 2 presentations to the Arlington Redevelopment Board. Planning efforts like this are not easy. They take a lot of time and effort. And while the Affordable Housing Overlay District Committee has made significant progress and developed some general ideas, they would like more time to refine their proposals, share them with the community, gather feedback. So this is what we're seeking with Article 38, to allow the committee to continue their work for another year in anticipation of bringing a proposal to town meeting in 2027. So next slide, please. Next slide. So the redevelopment board's recommended vote to town meeting is, next slide, that the charge of the Affordable Housing Overlay Committee be extended to 2027 annual town meeting. The Arlington Redevelopment Board voted to recommend favorable action on Article 38 by 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you. And so let's switch over to the speaker queue. We have 4 speakers in the queue. We'll take them in order. Mr. Curran, Kevin Curran. Nope. Mr. Wagner. Followed by Mr. Zimmer. We have seats in the front for folks who are on deck to speak. So Yep. Mr. Wagner, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Carl Wagner, Precinct 15. I didn't want to go to the public meetings of this committee every 2 weeks, but I basically did. And I think I'm the member of the public who attended substantially all of their meetings since Article 41 was not passed by this body in 2025, and the ARB did not recommend passing of it. If you remember, an interesting motion I'd never heard in my many years of town meeting came up, a motion to commit. And various bodies sent 7 people to be in this committee. One of them, the only one who actually was a representative of low-income people, residents, didn't actually attend after the inaugural meeting. So it was 6 people who share a focus on making affordable housing development. Unfortunately, the reason I think we should just let this committee expire without renewing it under the current terms is that those 6 people have an affordable housing developer focus, and the changes proposed, which are not up for debate today, but you really should go look at their proposal, particularly the language in the 4th draft, because the changes proposed affect all residential and business zones. They are specific at the moment in 50 sites, but they could be changed dramatically. And you and your stakeholders, business people, members of the public who represent other people than developers really should be involved in this. We need a broad stakeholder review of if such a change in Arlington goes forward. If we say yes to this, then you extend the existing 6 people with the addition, finally, of a member of the Arlington Housing Authority, which is a great breath of fresh air, but it's still not enough for the largest changes that we might see in Arlington after the MBTA density overlay. So I ask you to vote no, which will just naturally allow Article 41, which was a no, which turned into this, to expire. And then if it's necessary for us to have an affordable housing overlay, we should make a much broader based effort with better representation of all the interests in Arlington. Thank you.
Thank you. Take Mr. Zimmer next, followed by Mr. Palmer. Mr. Palmer? Followed by Andrew Fisher.
Thank you, Max Palmer, Precinct 2. I'm a member of this committee. Happy to answer any questions. All we're looking to do is extend the charge of it, not to pass or change any zoning in any way right now. The committee's put a lot of work into studying affordable housing finance, identifying plausible sites. Our current proposals are not in any way overlays of any significant zones in the town, but rather focused on specific properties that would yield large enough sites for viable affordable housing in the future, the kinds of places where we could actually build it. So we're just looking for more time to work with the ARB. We have a plan for public engagement for after town meeting, and then in the fall to really craft a really careful proposal for your consideration next year. So all we're asking for is the time to do that right now. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Fisher, followed by Mr. Hamlin.
Andrew Fisher, Precinct 6. Thank you, Mr. Moderator. I'm confused. This is referred to as a resident or a citizen committee. What does that mean? It kind of intimates that this is an ad hoc committee that was not voted by town meeting.
It was created by town meeting through, I believe, a motion to commit last year. So it was created by town meeting.
I just wanted to say I didn't know that we were creating a meeting by a motion to commit.
Yeah, there was, just very briefly, I forget the article number, but it was, Mr. Cunningham, do you have the information? Yeah. And I will say that creating a committee is one of the kind of intrinsic powers of town meeting. Under that, the particular article from which this committee was created, you won't see anywhere in the article text, which might be confusing, anything about creating a committee, because it's one of the intrinsic powers, and it's in town meeting time that a motion to commit or refer to committee can create a committee, even if that does not appear in the article text. So it's an interesting case that looks like it's out of scope, but it's actually allowed explicitly by the rules. Mr. Cunningham?
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Michael Cunningham, Town Council. And it was Article 41 last year, as Mr. Wagner noted, and I think he correctly set out the options here for town meeting. This current motion and article would allow for the charge of the committee to be extended through next year's town meeting. If town meeting now does nothing, the committee would expire at the end of this town meeting.
Okay. In any case, I'd urge a no vote on this. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Hamlin, followed by Jess Ahern Luma.
Guillermo Hamlin, Precinct 14. I'm looking over the draft site list that's provided to us on the site, and if you could indulge me, is it appropriate to extend it beyond 2027 for 2028 town meeting?
No, that would be out of scope. It goes beyond the extents of what is specified in the article text.
Okay, the reason why I at least wanted to shoot my shot there is because I'm looking over this draft site list and there's plenty of work to be done. And I think that the work being done by this group is admirable, sufficient, and I'm voting to extend their charge to make sure that they get this work done because I support the work that they're doing. I hope that you join me doing the same. It's unfortunate we can't extend it further, but that's within scope and I abide by it. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's see, next we have Jess Ahern Luma, followed by Mr. Greenspan. Someone could make a motion to refer this to a committee. I don't recommend that, but.
Jess Luma, Precinct 12. So I was not here at last year's town meeting, but I do know that 77% of those of you that were supported the creation of this committee, and I see no reason not to let them continue their work. Costs us basically nothing to let them do what they're doing. I've heard some folks imply that the committee membership is maybe skewed or there's a different way that this was formed than other committees, but I've taken a look at the motion to commit last year and it looks very similar. I'm on a commission and we have a very similar formation where other boards or committees in town, such as select board or town moderator, appoint people to the commission. So you end up with people with different perspectives who all care about that particular issue. And I would, for one, like to be able to see what their proposal is. We have not seen any official proposal yet, so I would like to see what they come up with, evaluate at that time. We can debate, we can vote at that time with whether we want to support what they are proposing or not. So I urge you to vote yes, let this committee complete the work that you have asked them to do. Thank you.
Thank you, and welcome to town meeting. Mr. Greenspan, you're next. I remember I had to add new functionality to my tracking spreadsheet to support a motion to commit, so thank you for that. Mr. Greenspan, go ahead.
Andy Greenspan, Precinct 5. I motion to terminate debate on all matters before this article.
Okay, we have a motion to terminate debate, and we have a second. All those in favor of terminating debate under Article 38 say yay. Yay. All those opposed say nay. Nay. It is not terminated. Okay, we have 5 standing, and we will take an electronic vote. Okay, let's make sure we don't lose the speaker queue here. Okay, we now have a motion to terminate debate in front of us. Voting is now open. If you want to terminate debate under Article 38, press 1 for yes. If you want to continue debate, press 2 for no, or 3 to cancel, or 3 to, can't cancel, to abstain. There's no cancellation, there's no motion to cancel. Okay, let's close voting. And this requires 2/3 vote. And debate is terminated. 164 in the affirmative, 46 in the negative, 1 abstention. That is a 2/3 vote. So we'll now proceed to voting on the main motion. And before we open voting, I just want to summarize. This is a majority vote on whether to extend the charge of the Affordable Housing Overlay Committee, which was created last year by town meeting by a motion to commit, to extend the charge of that committee to next year's 2027 annual town meeting. Let's open voting now under Article 38. If you're in favor of extending the charge of that committee to next year's town meeting, press 1 for yes. If you want to let it expire this year, press 2 for no. Okay, let's close voting. And the motion passes, 169 in the affirmative, 41 negative, 4 abstentions. That takes us now to Article 39. Let's see, and Mr. Revlock, do we have you again introducing?
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Steve Revlock.
Sorry, speaker queue is clear. Sorry about that. Yeah, it's already cleared. Go ahead, sorry.
Okay, while slides come up, I'm Steve Revelak, Vice Chair of the Arlington Redevelopment Board, and I will be taking you through Article 39, an administrative clarification to accessory dwelling units. Next slide. So last year, town meeting voted to adopt changes to our ADU bylaw for the purpose of bringing it into compliance with some new state requirements. So when the Attorney General's office was reviewing what we passed, they noticed a problem. It wasn't actually in the text that we changed, but they still noticed it. And the problem was that our bylaw requires a special permit for ADUs within 6 feet of a lot line. The Attorney General's office sent us a long memo about this, which you can find on the annotated warrant, but essentially saying that you cannot do this. So state regulations for ADUs only permit a special permit for an accessory dwelling unit in 2 circumstances. 1, when the municipality has elected to allow additional ADUs on a lot and a special permit is required. And number 2, for development in a protected, for the development of a protected use ADU in a floodplain or aquifer protection overlay. So the special permit requirement in Arlington's ADU bylaw meets neither of these provisions, which essentially means it's unenforceable. So the municipal law unit recommended changing the special permit requirement to a finding, and that is what Article 39 proposes. Next slide. Next slide. So the text of the amendment. So the main motion strikes the text acting pursuant to Section 3.3, grants a special permit upon its finding, and replaces it with the words fines. So the redevelopment board voted to recommend favorable action on Article 39 by a vote of 5-0. Thank you.
Okay. The speaker queue has been open and there are no requests to speak. So we will proceed to a vote on the main motion of Article 39. What? Oh, people have been pressing buttons? It looks clear to me. Is it open now? Okay, try pressing your buttons now. I'm still not seeing any requests. Oh, Mr. Fleming, but raise your hand if you were requesting to speak. Okay, okay. I see 3 people now in the queue. Okay, Mr. Fleming, followed by, sorry about that, I'm not sure what happened, followed by Ms. Band.
James Fleming, Precinct 4. I'd like to make a floor amendment that is very small in terms of number of characters. I think this was just an oversight in the drafting of the article. In section 813, there's a reference to the section that we're modifying that is in the non-conforming uses section. And in 8.1.3D, it refers to the special permit being issued in the section that we're modifying, and we're taking that out of the section that we're modifying. So the the amendment would be to strike the text "special permit issued" in section 813D and replace it with the finding, basically what we're doing in.
Okay, can you repeat the motion text again? Strike the text.
Strike the text "special permit issued" from 8.1.3D.
D as in David?
Yes, D as in David. And replace it with finding.
Let's see. Special permit issues. I'll search for that. Can we bring up the recommended vote language? Second. I don't see a special permit issued.
It's not in the section that we're looking at. It's in a different section of the bylaw that refers back to this section.
Yes, so the article text, which I assume is why folks are yelling, scope, says to see the town will vote to amend section 592B, as in boy, 1E as in Edward 3, accessory dwelling units requirements of the zoning bylaw to revise a requirement for permitting certain accessory dwelling units as of right, and so on. So it does appear pretty hemmed into section 592B, which would not be covered by 813D in terms of scope.
Okay, so we can only touch this one section.
What's that?
We can only touch this one section then.
Based on the article text, yeah.
Okay, never mind.
Okay. And there is the, or take any action related there too, but as many folks know, I take a very narrow interpretation of that. Okay, so next we have Ms. Evans, followed by Sam Polk.
Thank you. Winnell Evans, Precinct 14. I have two questions, please. The Attorney General's letter to the town closes by saying that they recommend this change. So my question is, that seems a little like it leaves it up to us. So I want to know if this is absolutely required. And I would also appreciate a little bit more elucidation on the difference between a special permit and a finding and what is lost and gained between those two. Thank you.
Let's see, Mr. Cunningham or someone from the redevelopment board? Mr. Cunningham?
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Michael Cunningham, Town Council. I'll probably leave the second half, if it's okay, Mr. Moderator, to Mr. Revelak. The first question I could answer, though, generally when the Attorney General's municipal law unit uses that language, recommended, it's a gentle way of suggesting that we do it.
Mr. Revelak, do you want to handle the other question?
So yes, the difference between a special permit and a finding. So in this context, what we're looking back at taking the text of the main motion and a little bit more language on either side. The current bylaw uses the phrase shall be allowed only if the applicable special permit granting authority acting pursuant to section 3.3 grants a special permit upon its finding that the location of such accessory dwelling unit is not substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood, etc. Now, the motion before you would change this language so that it would read, shall be allowed only if the applicable special permit granting authority finds that the location of such accessory dwelling unit is not substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood. So essentially, the special permit granting authority, which is in all likelihood would be the Zoning Board of Appeals, still has to use the same standards, not substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood, but where a special permit requires a 2/3 vote, a finding requires a simple majority. And hopefully I got that right, Mr. Cunningham. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Next up, Sam Polk.
Let's see if I get this right this time.
Name and precinct.
Sam Polk, Precinct 12. I move to terminate debate on all items under this article.
Perfect. We have a motion to terminate debate, and we have a second. All those in favor of terminating debate under Article 39, say yay. Yay. All those opposed, say nay. Debate is terminated. It is a 2/3 vote. So this is a majority vote on the main motion to amend the zoning bylaw section 592B, as in beta, to require a finding instead of a special permit for accessory dwelling units within setbacks. So voting is now open. If you're in favor of making that change to the zoning bylaw, press 1 for yes. And if you're opposed, press 2 for no. Or 3 to abstain. Okay, let's close voting. And the motion passes 198 in the affirmative, 8 in the negative, 5 abstentions. That takes us now to Article 40, and let's clear the speaker queue. Mr. Revelak, do you want to lead us off for Article 40? Speaker queue is cleared and now open. Yep.
Okay, good evening. I'm Steve Revelak, Vice Chair of the Arlington Redevelopment Board, and I'll be taking you through Article 40, Zoning Map Change Requirements. Next slide, please. So Section 1.5 of Arlington zoning bylaw contains a requirement that someone petitioning for a change to the zoning map has to send notice to all property owners and immediate abutters affected by the change by certified or registered mail. So this is an Arlington-specific requirement, and it does not have a counterpart in state law. So certified and registered mail is significantly more expensive than first class. So certified mail is $5.30 in addition to postage for a total of $6.08 per letter. First class mail, of course, is 78 cents. So the requirements for certified or registered mail can be cost prohibitive for anything beyond the smallest map changes, and there's no guarantee that they produce better notifications. The recipient is going to get the same notice in the mail, regardless of how it's delivered. So Article 40 proposes to change the certified or registered mail requirement to first class. This will be less of a cost burden while still preserving a requirement that notice be given. Next slide, please. So moving on to the text of the main motion, next slide. So we propose striking the words certified or registered mail and replacing them with the words first class mail, postage, prepaid. The redevelopment board voted to recommend favorable action on Article 40 by 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's show the speaker queue, and let's see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 speakers. Let's go ahead and just shuffle. Okay. Ms. Anderson, you are the winner. You're up first, followed by Ms. Cahill. Mrs. Cahill.
Kristen Anderson, Precinct 11. When I receive certified mail, I treat it differently than first-class mail. So I will be voting against this. I also I think it probably doesn't make a huge difference, the cost of it. So I urge you to vote no on this. Thank you.
Okay, and next we have Mrs. Cahill, followed by Mr. Lewicki. Not here.
Eileen Cahill, Precinct 13. I urge you to vote against this because I think if we do make a zoning change, people need to realize it, and I agree that you notice the certified mailing. I know it's been on town meeting the last couple of years, the proposal to change universally the zoning throughout the town to eliminate single-family zoning, and one of the arguments for that was that we need to notify people about it. People have no idea. They live in the resident, and when you have in the town and you have a conversation with them, they're like, no, that can't happen. They have no idea. And the residents of this town deserve to know this is their investment, their property. They need to know if the zoning around them is changing. There's a reason that this was in the books. We shouldn't just go and change it just because it's more convenient. So I urge you to vote against this. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Lewicki, followed by Mr. Jameson.
JP Lewicki, Precinct 2. Mr. Moderator, I was wondering if you'd be able to address the difference in a map change versus a use change for purposes of notification.
Map change versus use change notification?
Yeah.
Like in terms of like notification requirements?
Yeah.
Mr. Revlak, can you answer that? What are the notification requirement differences between a map change versus a use change?
So the map change requires notification to the property owners affected and all abutters. Changes to any other part of the zoning bylaw, including use tables, just follow the same notice. They're warrant articles, just like they're just like any other warrant article.
Thank you. So a couple years back, I was one of the proponents who brought forward the three-family everywhere warrant article that we ended up going with a no action on. If we had brought that forward, there would have been absolutely no notification requirement under the current bylaw because it would have been a use change. Basically, you can look at any current zone and you can change anything about it at all that you want to, and it will have absolutely no effect or absolutely no notification requirement. You don't have to mail out letters. The ARB might ask you to do a public process, but you don't have to. Arlington Town Meeting has a long history of having a lot of citizen-driven activism, where people like you and me ask town meetings to do all sorts of different things. It's cost and time prohibitive to do certain kinds of notification that let's say that I decided when I was working on the Three Family Everywhere warrant article that I prefer to change maybe these like 1,000 or 2,000 houses into being a three families, or into being into the kind of R3, for example. That would have taken, I'm not sure of the exact cost of registered mail, but with kind of volunteer time, cost of printing, cost of just amount of time spent at the post office getting it out, you're talking about kind of many, many hours and thousands of dollars of costs. If we change it to first-class mail, then when people like me are thinking about future warrant articles to make significant voting changes, what we'll be able to do is we'll actually consider smaller changes. I'm not saying I'm always going to do crazy, large-scale zoning changes, but what we would be able to do is to say, okay, hey, maybe there's a more targeted thing. Let's consider moving these this one area of Arlington. Let's kind of, if we're going to try two-family, let's try it there. There's a small-scale example of that later on this town meeting that I think is still forthcoming, but that kind of took a great deal of coordination and effort. So people are still going to be receiving mail. It's going to go out to every single affected person in the town, not just the people in the actual zone, but the ones around it. So I do urge you to vote yes on this article.
Thank you. Mr. Jameson, followed by Mr. Greenspan.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Gordon Jameson, Precinct 12. I have two questions. About how many certified letters do we send out on this based upon the current requirement per year?
Does anyone know on average, at least ballpark, how many certified letters are sent out each year for
related to
zoning
the
changes?
zoning changes in the zoning map?
Changes to the zoning map, yeah.
So for
name and precinct, or name and title?
Steve Revelock, Vice Chair of the Arlington Redevelopment Board. So for changes proposed by the ARB, there is notification that's sent out according to Section 1.5, but it is just from it's first-class mail through the planning office. So I believe we do not actually send certified mail for ARB-initiated changes. It is only for citizen petitions.
Okay, but still, how many do we send that are by citizen petition?
So, I'm sorry, what was the question? Mr. Jameson, what was the question?
So what I just heard was Mr. Revelock said that when the ARB sends out a letter, it's first class, postage prepaid, and they don't send out registered or certified, but it would only be in the case of a petition by a citizen. So my question is, on average, how many registered certified mail letters do they send out relevant to citizen petitions to change the zoning map?
Would that be, Mr. Revelock, would that be the proponent of the petition that's responsible for sending those? So does the ARB
That is correct.
Does the ARB even have any visibility into what that magnitude is?
There is such a citizen petition for map change that we'll be hearing later. And during the hearings, I asked the petitioner, how much did you spend on mail? And I believe his answer was it was under $500.
Well, it's a large amount, but that has to be done by the citizen.
That is correct.
Well, is it by the petitioners, like the 10 registered voters who sign it, or the proponent of, like the drafter, the author of the petition, who doesn't even need to be an Arlington resident, correct?
So it has to be the person filing the petition. I suppose if they wanted to split the funds up against, with the other 10 registered voters, they would have the opportunity to do so.
But the person who's submitting the petition
That is
would
correct.
be responsible.
Yes.
And do those petitions always end up coming before town meeting? Or
Well,
can
I
ARB
could answer
approve
that. They come before town meeting in some form or another. If there are for instance, if there are no action in recent years and there was no intention to provide like a substitute motion, then they'd appear on the consent agenda, for instance. So that's still technically coming before town meeting. Does that answer your question?
Yes, and I have a process question. As I understand it, we've, in past years, passed articles that make it so we do not have to, on the floor, pass changes to the zoning law. When they happen, they automatically take effect. Is that correct?
Mr. Revlock, do you know the answer? Or Mr. Cunningham?
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Michael Cunningham, Town Council. I'm sorry, Mr. Jameson, could you repeat that question?
So in past sessions, we've approved articles that essentially make the passage every year at town meeting of changes in the zoning bylaw map as something we have to do every year to have it to the point where they now, once the change is made, it's automatically done on the map.
Is your question whether that requires notification, like via mail?
I'm just trying to understand the process, so how this relates to that. So if something was passed by the ARB, would that take an effect automatically and automatically be changed on the zoning map, or we would still have to have an article in front of us?
You talking about notice requirements under 48, Section 5, or approval by the Attorney General?
I think I'm out of scope here, so I'll just, unless Mr. Revlock can do something, I'm going to sit down. Thank you, Mr. Moderator.
Thank you for the self-scope call. Say Mr. Greenspan, followed by Mr. Hyam.
Andy Greenspan, Precinct 5. Just to get a sense of the differences here, if I had a proposal for map changes that involved 100 parcels, or no, it's not parcels, it's abutters, right? 100 abutters of parcels. Under the current rules, how much money would I have to pay out of pocket versus this proposed change?
Mr. Revlock, can you do that math?
So it's going to depend on the shape. So if your 100 abutters were all in a line, all on one side of the street, each with one parcel behind them, then you'd have 100 on the rear and another 2 on each end. That would be 102 abutters at a cost of $6.08 a piece, which is $612, $620, $630, something, 600 and something bucks. Now, if it was a perfect square, you would have 10, 10, 10, and 10. 10 by 10, your 100 property. So plus 4 in the, so it would be 10, 20, 30, 40, plus 4 more is 44 at $6, so it would be about 250 bucks.
And in this proposal, how much would it be roughly?
So it would be 78 cents per letter, so 100 letters at 78 cents a piece, or 102 letters at 78 cents a piece is $78 and roughly about 80 bucks. And for 44, it would be like 35.
Okay. Mr. Moderator, another follow-up question. So under the current rules, if I'm a citizen who has an idea that I want to do, that's a change that I would want to bring before a town meeting, that's a map change, I am trying to understand, I'd have to pay roughly $7 per abutter. How much would the ARB have to pay or the town/ARB have to pay if they wanted to do the exact same change of their own desire or sponsorship?
Like it's the same change, but without going through the citizen petition process? Without going through the citizen petition process? Like if it came from like the planning department, for instance. Mr. Revlock?
Or the planning department. Anyone who's not a citizen petitioner, how much would they have to pay in comparison?
Well, to just build on your earlier question, I gave answers for how much you would have to pay. The planning department also has to send first-class mail to the same, essentially the same list of people. Now, if the ARB were proposing it, the redevelopment board would not have to send certified mail, but the planning department would still have to send first-class mail to all of the abutters. So essentially, you're getting, if it is a redevelopment board article, each abutter is notified once, and if it's a citizen petition, they're notified twice.
Okay, that I didn't know. Okay, so it seems like currently, the current process if you're a citizen is duplicative because I have to pay, for this example, $700 of which I don't have, even though I want to do something democratic, and the ARB or planning staff have to pay anyway. This proposed change would still have to notify all the same people, but it would just be me as a citizen exercising my democratic, what I believe, democratic rights and ethos and goal of civic participation and advocacy in town at equal with the town itself. We are the taxpayers. The town is accountable to us. It doesn't seem fair that I, as a citizen, am basically cost prohibited from trying to propose changes that we can even debate at town meeting, because if I can't pay that money, we don't even get to debate it. So for those various reasons of pro-democracy and civic participation, and that everyone's going to be notified the same way. Abutters are still getting notified, but all of us are now equal with the town and the ARB. I support this article. Thanks.
Thank you. Mr. Hyam, followed by Mr. Moore, Christopher Moore. And when Mr. Hyam comes up, you can puzzle over how much does it cost the average taxpayer when the ARB has to send it. Okay, Mr. Hyam? Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Topher Hyam, Precinct 15. Move to terminate debate in this article and all related matters.
Okay, we have a motion to terminate debate, and we have a second. All those in favor of terminating debate under Article, where are we at? 40, say yay. Yay. All those opposed, say nay. Nay. Debate is terminated. It is a 2/3 vote. Okay. So this is a 2/3 vote on the main motion as well, to amend the zoning bylaw, section 1.5, to require zoning map change petitions be sent via first-class mail rather than certified mail. So let's open voting now on the main motion under Article 40. Voting is now open. This is a 2/3 vote. If you're in favor of that change to the zoning bylaw, that zoning map change petitions be sent via first-class mail rather than certified mail, press 1 for yes, or 2 to reject that change to the zoning bylaw. Okay, voting is closed. And the motion passes, 146 in the affirmative, 64 in the negative, 3 abstentions. That is a 2/3 vote. That takes us now to Article 42, and can we clear the speaker queue, please? Let's see. Article 41 was on the consent agenda. We're at Article 42. Mr. Revlock?
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Steve Revlock, Vice Chair of the Arlington Redevelopment Board, and I will be taking you through Article 42, Parking and Loading Standards. Next slide, please. So Article 42 was motivated by mixed-use projects that have come before the ARB. So in these projects, there is always a tug-of-war between the interior space of the first floor, which includes a commercial space, and the space needed to satisfy the zoning bylaws parking requirements. So we'd like commercial spaces to be bigger, but the bylaw also has dimensional requirements for parking lots that we have to satisfy. So parking spaces have to have certain dimensions, drive aisles have to have certain dimensions, and buildings have to kind of basically fit in around them. Now, narrowing a drive aisle allows the parking area to become a little smaller and the ground floor, including the commercial space, to become deeper. So this is what Article 42 proposes to do, to reduce the required width of the drive aisle from 24 feet to 22 feet. So it'll allow for a modest increase in commercial space, probably between 100 and 200 square feet, given a lot of our smaller lots So next slide, please. So when considering this change, the board looked at drive aisle requirements for some of our neighboring communities, which you can see maybe not so well on the screen here, but these range from 20 to 24 feet, and what we're proposing is 22, right in the middle of that. So next slide. So the main motion consists of changing the number 24 to number 22 in two places, once on the text in the left and one in the table on the right. So the redevelopment board voted to recommend favorable action on Article 42, 5-0.
Thank you. Let's switch over to the speaker queue. We have one speaker so far. Mr. Tremblay, you're up. Mr. Tremblay? Yep. Here he comes. He's running. Followed by Ms. Marks.
Ed Tremblay, Precinct 19. I got a question for all of you. Could I see a show of hands of how many of you have a commercial driver's license?
You don't have to raise your hand. We vote with clickers here.
I don't see any hands. So there's move of foots all over continuously to reduce the size of lanes. In this case, it's the drive aisle. And I can tell you, since nobody drives a truck, that you have no idea how much fun it is to try and drive big vehicles through small, narrow lanes. And I know we're only talking about 2 feet, but anything is an issue. Trucks are 8.5 feet wide. They have mirrors that stick out. So if you have two trucks that are trying to pass each other in this drive aisle, and somebody's parked their car at 90 degrees and sticking out a little bit, we might have a problem. And there's also, we're making blanket laws here. So if we're trying to deliver with small tractor trailers, it's not that easy to get around in some of these drive aisles. So I would say that in order to keep the deliveries coming to all these stores that you like to go to, and I would say that since a lot of people get things by delivery truck, do we not do this? And not make a driver's life harder than it already is, and also not risk accidents. They're minor, but even a minor accident, it's still thousands of dollars. It makes all of our insurance rates go up. So I would suggest we not do this. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Marks, you're next. Just a reminder, we do have seats open in the front for folks who are on deck to speak. Ms. Marks, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm Melita Marks from Precinct 12. And on the face of it, this article will probably not make much of a difference, except that it makes already ridiculously tight parking areas even more cramped. However, this request speaks to a larger problem, which is the desire to shoehorn developments that have insufficient lot sizes and parking spots for the number of units they are trying to fit in. Many buildings have parking for less than 50% of the units with no provisions for parking. Although I understand we are trying to encourage public transportation use in these affordable developments, the reality is that many people will still have and need cars and will have no place to park them. In these instances where there is an insufficient lot size to give adequate parking for the number of units in the building, the solution is to build a smaller building, not shrink the size of parking spaces in order to meet requirements. Please vote no on Article 42. Thank you.
Thank you. Next we have Ms. Gruber, followed by Remy Macaluso.
Rebecca Gruber, Precinct 10. I just have a couple questions. One, I'm presuming you didn't come up with the dimensions of this drive aisle randomly. So how does this compare to other neighboring communities?
Mr. Revlock? Yeah. Like, how did you arrive at 22 feet?
So we looked at neighboring communities, including, well, neighboring communities, and they're all very consistent in the range of 20 to 24. Arlington was at the top of that range. We discussed going down to 20. Members of the board felt that 20 was a little too narrow, so we settled on 22. And for context, an interstate highway is about 11, has roughly 11 feet lanes.
Okay, and not to be facetious, I'm presuming that the trucks that come into Arlington are about the same size as the trucks that come into all the other towns around us.
I don't know if anyone can, I think people can use their imaginations on that.
So I don't think this is about development as much as it is about making it easy for us to have access via trucks in new construction, correct?
Mr. Revlock?
Well, specifically, this was motivated by permitting mixed-use buildings and wanting to have a little more space for commercial. That's sort of like the typical layout of the first floor of a mixed-use building is you've got some section that is, building and typically has a business, a lobby, a trash room, et cetera. And then you have the parking. So if our regulations for a parking space are 18 feet, you have the drive aisle on that. It functions almost like a dimensional restriction on where the wall of the building ends. And we're trying to find a way to move one of those walls back a little bit to enlarge the commercial spaces.
So I'm understanding this as common sense, as opposed to some great way of getting more construction, more development in this town, and more commercial use that we want. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Macaluso, followed by Mr. Greenspan.
Hello?
Oh, satellite room? Yes.
Satellite room.
Yep. Can we switch to the video?
I can't see anything here. Is everything good with the video?
Yep, we can see you and hear you. Go ahead.
Awesome. All right. Remy Macaluso, Precinct 3. I want to speak to address the concerns about car insurance rates going up because of this. I do not own a car. I do not need a car. We live in Arlington. We have excellent public transit here, and we have a large number of businesses that we can walk to for all of our needs. If you're concerned about your car insurance rates, I would consider joining me. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Greenspan, followed by Sam Polk. Mr. Polk.
Sam Polk, Precinct 12. I move to terminate debate.
Okay, we have a motion to terminate debate, and we have a second. All those in favor of terminating debate under Article 42 say yay. Yay. All those opposed say nay. It is a 2/3 vote. Debate is terminated. So we're going to take a vote on the main motion of Article 42, which is a 2/3 vote to amend the zoning bylaw section 6.1.11 to reduce the minimum required drive aisle width for 90-degree parking from 24 feet to 22 feet. If you're in favor of that change to the zoning bylaw, press 1 for yes. If you're opposed, press 2 or 3 to abstain. Okay, let's close voting. And the motion passes. It's 144 in the affirmative, 58 in the negative, 3 abstentions. It is a 2/3 vote. That takes us now to Article 43. And can we clear the speaker queue, please? Speaker queue is now clear for Article 43. Mr. Revlock.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. I'm Steve Revlock, Vice Chair of the Arlington Redevelopment Board, and I'll be taking you through Article 43, marquee signs. Next slide, please. So Article 43 was motivated by the town's 2 theaters, the Capitol and the Regent. They're historic Arlington institutions that have been around forever. They've also got old marquee signs, and that the owners of those establishments are interested in updating. So Article 43 proposes to allow digital display technology on marquee signs. It provides a modernization path where these businesses can show what's playing via a programmable digital display board rather than by needing someone to go up on a ladder and swap out individual letters. Next slide, please. So to provide an idea of what this might look like, here are some pictures of the Cabot Theater in Beverly, whose marquee signs have digital displays. The display is being used in a very traditional sense for a marquee sign to show what's playing at the theater. So next slide. So here's what Article 43 proposes to do. So digital displays would only be allowed on marquee signs and only by special permit. The displays would have to be architecturally integrated into the marquee signs. Displays would have to be limited to events happening on the premises. They would not be able to be used for general advertising. Displays would have to be equipped with auto-dimming technology to adjust brightness. And the displayed material would have to be static without motion, animations, or flashing. The Redevelopment Board voted to recommend favorable action on Article 43 by a vote of 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you. We have two speakers in the queue. We'll just take them in order. Mr. Lane, followed by Ms. Crowder.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Adam Lane, Precinct 3. I live right around the corner from the Capitol Movie Theater. I hope you will all agree with me that it is a fantastic amenity that we have in our town. I think you may also agree with me that the current economic environment for theaters is undergoing a lot of transformation at the moment, with competition from streaming services and young people being unable to be transfixed by anything other than their phones. I think we should do everything within our power to help these institutions that add so much to our civic life, and I hope you will support this measure. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Crowder? Would the Citgo sign qualify? I hear it's moving. Could we put that on top of? Thank you. Ms. Crowder?
Elaine Crowder, Precinct 19. I'm wondering how this connects with our current dark skies bylaw and whether there was any consideration given to the amount of uplighting generated by all three sides of the digital marquee sign.
I'm sorry, how does it affect which portion of the bylaw?
How it
dark skies.
interconnects with the dark skies bylaw, whether there was any consideration given to the uplighting.
Got it.
From.
Thank you. Mr. Revlock, can you answer? How does this interact, if at all, or was a consideration the dark skies bylaw?
So these are not uplights. So it's the display would be, it is a panel with essentially LEDs. This is where, as far as dark skies, this is where the requirement for auto dimming came in, so that it could be brighter during the day and then less dimmed or dimmer at night. You can sort of see that on the slide of the Cabot Theater, where the daytime photo is bright and colorful, and the nighttime photo is, is dimmer.
Does that also account for the amount of light that is actually going up from the sign that could affect migration of birds, et cetera? And
Mr. Revlock, does it take into consideration any uplight from such a sign?
The display would be on the side, so the light would be going out to the sides rather than up.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Let's see, Mr. Lamani, followed by Ms. Wilson.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Fatan Limani, Precinct 15. This is a limited but regulated modernization for theater markets that improves safety and supports local venues while protecting neighborhood character, so I support it. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Wilson, followed by Ms. Griggs.
Hi, Courtney Wilson, Precinct 15. Quick question about the energy usage for these. they must light it right now at nighttime, but not during the day. But if we use LED lights or whatever the marquee lighting changes, what's the energy usage difference?
Mr. Revlock, was energy usage difference a consideration? Do you have any guess as to how that might be impacted?
So that was not a consideration. In terms of, Ms. Lucide, do you know how is there backlighting on these currently? Okay, so LEDs are, they are efficient, but no, we did not directly consider energy usage in the deliberations of this article.
Okay, and just a question, because these are privately owned companies, right? So they would be paying the cost of the energy, but energy is still at a premium right now too, right? Okay, and I guess right now that the marquees are not being lit during the day, but with this new LED lighting, they would be lit during the day. Okay, all right, something to think about.
Right, there's not a requirement to install them, they're being allowed, correct? Yeah, okay. Ms. Phelan, followed by Mr. Moore. Michelle Phelan? Oh, there you are.
Hi, Michelle Phelan, Precinct 4. A little bit nervous. Just a couple of quick questions. I think this is a really great idea. I think it's, about time we shift into the 21st century when it comes to illumination and the marquees. My two questions are, will there be any requirement as to what will be displayed on the marquees? Text only, or will the establishments be able to project images, illustrations, photographs, things like that? So how do you regulate that? And the second question is, how do you determine how dim the light gets at night, especially considering if there are neighbors living close by that might be offended by really bright lights at night?
Yeah, Mr. Revlock, do you have answers to those questions? Like requirements on what's displayed, whether it's text or images?
Yeah, so in terms of the text, so the content shall be limited to the display of events, performances, or activities occurring on the premises. Display shall be, no animated features, flashing, rotating, motion picture, or application creating the illusion of motion allowed on the display.
So it sounds like static images.
So I think static images would be okay, text would be okay, animated stuff or scrolling text would not be okay.
Okay, so images like illustrations or paintings could be up there in addition to text?
I believe that's allowed, yeah.
Okay.
There's room to allow that, yes.
Okay. And the second question is about how dim the lights may get at night. Who regulates how dim the LEDs will get at night?
So I think this is one of the motivations for requiring a special permit. So typically, with a lot of building exterior lightings, applicants are asked to provide lighting studies. Mm-hmm. So I would picture that being part of the permitting process.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Moore?
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Christopher Moore, Precinct 14. I move to terminate debate.
Okay, and we have motion to terminate debate, and we have a second. All those in favor of terminating debate under Article 43 say yay. Yay. All those opposed say nay. It is a 2/3 vote. Debate is terminated, so this is the main motion now will be a 2/3 vote on amending the zoning bylaw section 625D to allow electronic displays on marquee signs by special permit. So let's open voting now on the main motion under Article 43. Voting is now open, yes. Okay, let's close voting. And the motion passes 190 in the affirmative, 12 in the negative, 3 abstentions. It is a 2/3 vote. Could we clear the speaker queue, please? And that'll take us to Article 44. Mr. Revlock, the speaker queue is now clear. Mr. Revlock, you have the floor. And we do have one amendment on this as well, which we'll bring up after Mr. Revlock. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Moderator. I'm Steve Revelak, Vice Chair of the Arlington Redevelopment Board, and I'd like to introduce Article 44, Floodplain District. So Article 44 has a lengthy main motion, which is based on model language from the Massachusetts Department of Conservation and Recreation. Adopting such language will be a requirement for Arlington's continued participation in the National Flood Insurance Program. The Arlington Redevelopment Board voted 5-0 to recommend favorable action on Article 44, and I would like to introduce David Morgan from the Department of Planning and Community Development to present the article. Thank you.
Mr. Morgan?
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Good evening, everyone. David Morgan, Environmental Planner and Conservation Agent for the town. For the past year or so, we have been working with a version of the updated floodplain district language in the Conservation Commission's regulations. This is sort of a protective move that we made so that we would maintain our compliance with the National Flood Insurance Program until such time as it could come before town meeting for an update. We've coordinated with inspectional services and DPW around this, and all has gone smoothly, and we've made arrangements such that if it doesn't pass town meeting, these changes, then we'll still have that in place for a year. So be reassured that our compliance is not in jeopardy. However, we do want to bring things up to date as is required by FEMA and DCR. So the first change that I would like to highlight is the stated local purpose for flood resilient standards. And we've added a number of new standards to those, including protection against public emergencies from water quality, contamination, and pollution due to flooding. Also to avoid the loss of utility services that would be damaged by flooding, illuminating new hazards to emergency response officials, eliminating costs associated with the response and cleanup of flooding conditions, and reducing damage to public and private property resulting from floodwaters. We needed to do a handful of administrative things with this article, including specifying where the flood rate insurance map can be found. It lives in the Conservation Commission office. That would be my office, and it will always be on file there. It's also on the website for just a matter of record. There are a couple of terms that will be changed directly in Article 40, and then, in the section of the bylaw that is the floodplain overlay district. Just two definitions there specifying what a structure and variance mean in terms of flood protection. There are a number of changes to the definitions associated with floodplain that will go into the definition section of the bylaw. Another administrative change here, just designating the floodplain administrator, a professional role that's required by FEMA, and that will be me, the conservation agent. There are a handful of things that are also in the floodplain overlay district as it stands, but are being restated and or slightly changed in their definition. That's requiring permits for all proposed development in the floodplain overlay district, and then prohibiting encroachment within the floodway, which is the area that is actively moving water during a flood. There are some things here that are just pro forma and we need to include because they need to be included everywhere. That would be requirements for review of subdivision proposals. We don't have such a thing in Arlington at present, so it's just protective measure for the future. There are requirements for securing and anchoring and elevating recreational vehicles, such that if somebody's got a boat outside their house in a flood, it could very easily carry away. So in order to prevent damage, we're looking to ensure that those are secure and properly elevated outside of the floodplain. There are two requirements to notify officials when the floodplain changes, and that could be due to Any activity that changes the base flood elevation, meaning where the water goes, and also to notify officials if there are any changes to a water body such that the course of a brook or such is altered. Handful of smaller things at the end here, requirements for variances to building code floodplain standards and the bylaws. Also the disclaimer of liability and abrogation and greater restriction section. These are all very typical in zoning sort of parlance, specifying when variances apply, when there are stricter requirements, or sorry, I should say this differently. When there are conflicting requirements in the bylaw and other law, this section on abrogation and greater restriction ensures that the floodplain overlay district supersedes the other language. Disclaimer of liability and the compliance with court decisions, again, are quite typical. The compliance with court decisions piece simply says that case law also is law, and we follow it regardless of whether it's statutory or judicial.
30 seconds.
We have received approval from the Department of Conservation and Recreation to move forward with the language as such, and look forward to debate on the topic.
Thank you. And we have an amendment. Mr. Benson, are you here? Could we bring up the Benson amendment, please? I forget, was there a presentation? I don't recall.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Eugene Benson, Precinct 10. I have a very small amendment to this really wonderful and important change to the bylaws. The amendment is to adopt a definition of base flood, and I think there it is up there, because I'm guessing a certain number of you have no idea how to define or how FEMA defines base flood. And the term base flood is used 13 times in this proposal, and it isn't defined. And you may know it from FEMA. You may decide you want to go online and try to find it, and you might find slightly different definitions in different places, or we can include the definition of base flood in the definitions, and then we would know what it is. So base flood, and this is right from the FEMA glossary, is a predicted water surface elevation that has a 1% chance of occurring in any given year, commonly known as the 100-year flood as established by FEMA. Mr. Morgan mentioned that there is a model bylaw that the town used to make these changes. The model bylaw also had some options, and one option was additional definitions, and I think this one is important. For this one, it's even more important for Article 47, which we will get to next time, which also uses the term base flood without a definition. Thank you. I hope you support the amendment. May I have a second to the amendment?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you for remembering that. So the Benson amendment is now before us, as well as the main motion. Let's switch over to the speaker queue. We have 5 speakers. We'll start with, in order, Mr. Jameson.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Gordon Jameson, Precinct 12. I have just one question on how the 400 square foot number for a horizontal parked entity in the floodplain was arrived at.
This is the, I'm looking at the recreational vehicle which is letter B, 400 square feet, or that part?
Because if we took the discussion we had earlier and say 10 feet wide, that means it could be 40 feet long?
Mr. Revlock?
50 feet long if it's only 8 feet
Any
wide.
context to the 400 square feet? or Mr. Miller.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. So much of this language came to us directly from FEMA. It is consistent across all communities, and it was a change made at that level and not further analyzed by the town for purpose of.
Thank you, and I admire the work you've done here, especially having definitions in the front of things is always very helpful in any legal document, which this is in all due purposes. Thank you very much, Mr. Moderator.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we have a motion to adjourn. It is 10:57 p.m., and we have a second. All those in favor of adjourning until Wednesday night? Actually, before we take that, are there any notices of reconsideration tonight? Seeing none, we'll go back to the vote on the vote on adjournment. All those in favor of adjourning until Wednesday, say yay. Yay. All those opposed, say nay. We are adjourned. See everyone Wednesday. Remember to return your handsets to the bins near the doors or the back. Thank you.